Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of GallupBuilt. Thank you all for stopping by and checking out this video. In this video, we got a lot of work done on a lot of things, but I do get some parts in from an S-15 project. It's going to be awesome. Thank you all for checking out this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Good morning everybody. Today's Monday. I've got a few things to do. One of them is that gold Mustang right there. So I'm here at the shop. I was wondering what I'm going to work on today, and as I'm wondering what I'm going to work on, one of the other Ford Escapes showed up. They're getting it off the trailer right now. Let me go see what's going on with it. Go ahead. Started. Should be all right. Close that door before you back it up. I just had another one of the Explorers show up, and it's the one that had the alarm problem. So I changed the battery in it. It worked fine for a bit, but the truck shuts off sometimes because the alarm turns on in the middle of a drive. And when I was checking this, I finally took this apart completely. And I had seen all of this. There are a few things that are falling apart on here, so we might just order a new set of buttons for this since the board is okay. But I'll see. I've got one of these little metal pads. They are on each of these buttons right here, and this one didn't have one, but this one right here, you can see the adhesive that was holding it to the rubber has separated, and this little pad was sliding off, and as it slides off, you can see this outside ring right here. There's a little inside ring too, and when this little metal pad, it's domed out, it sits on the outside ring. When you push this button, it'll push this pad right here. And when it pushes this, it pushes this metal domed out pad down. And then it'll touch the inside while it's touching the outside, and that's what activates it. So when this slid sideways, the outside ring of that slid across. It was connecting both of those, so it kept shutting the alarm off. And when the alarm goes off while it's on, it actually turned off the vehicle. So I've got that fixed for now. We're gonna order a new one of these, and they might even sell one at O'Reilly's. But for right now, I'm gonna put this back in here after I tape this on here so it won't slide around, and it should work until the new one comes in. I cleaned the whole board off with this and a blue shop towel. It was gentle enough not to damage anything, but it worked good enough to clean it all off. There actually was soda or something in here, and that's what started the whole process of everything falling apart. It was shorting out a little bit too. I fixed the problem with the Explorer earlier. I got some cleaning done in the shop and got everything ready to be used for working on. And after a couple of test drives on this one, I still wasn't able to get the check engine light to come on, and I wasn't able to get it to shut off. It was brought to me, and I was told that it shut off twice on two different occasions. So last week it was brought to me and it was shut off, and it had a problem starting. This is the one that I changed the ignition switch on last week, and it starts fine now, but when they brought it over the last time, I was told that it shut off too, just out of nowhere, and they had to restart it. It took a bit to restart because of the ignition switch, but now that that's fixed, they had to restart it anyway. So I got here today, it was brought back again, and it's still starting okay when it needs to start, but it shut off again on one of the drives. So I tried to replicate it. I got it up to operating temperature. I took it for a test drive first, and then nothing happened, so I let it warm up, and when it did, I took it for a couple of test drives. I couldn't get it to act up even one bit, but it's not throwing a code. I got into the computer anyway, and it's got two pending codes, but it hasn't, in order for it to throw a code, it has to run for a certain amount of time when it's running bad, and then it throws the code. But when this one has problems, it shuts the vehicle off, and then they restart it, and it starts and runs fine. So it doesn't run long enough to throw a code, but when I got into the computer, there are two pending codes in there for catalyst efficiency, and that just means that our catalytic converters aren't efficiently cleaning what's coming out to be able to be pushed out into the atmosphere. So, yeah. So I've got it on the lift. And I'm gonna go underneath here and I'm gonna check all the wiring and stuff. So like right here, there's a converter right here. Looks kind of old, I guess. Might just be time for new converters. I'm gonna check the O2 sensor and all that. I got it warmed up before I put it in here. I noticed that. And when it's coming out in a line like that, it's usually on the line or on the pan. And this one is definitely on the pan. It's dripping from here. And the last time we were in one of these, we had to change the oil pressure sending unit. Yeah. Looks like that's going to be it again. Well, that's where the oil's coming from. I still got to check the rest of this stuff. Another thing that I noticed is, if you look at that clip right there, looks like our O2 sensor is a lot newer than the wire that it was connected to. I hope all of that is coming from on top of the exhaust manifold and not from the piston chambers. I got started on this and I'm gonna pull the intake so I can get to the back valve cover, and I'm gonna pull the front valve cover while I'm at it. I'm gonna clean the throttle body, I'm gonna check the EGR, I'm gonna check the plugs, the coils, and anything that might be causing this thing to shut off. It says that the catalyst efficiency is not where it should be. So I'm gonna go through and check all the things that would cause misfires or anything that would cause unspent fuel going into the exhaust system. After I took off the throttle body, I am unhooking everything that is connected to the intake. So there are a couple of plugs here. There was hose hooked up to here, this hose right here. I moved that out of the way, and I unhooked this for the EGR. This one is bolted on in the back, so you could either use a bigger wrench to take that off there. I will probably use the side ones and take it off of here. And this pole usually slides into the intake a little bit. That would be easy to fix right there. Holy cow. He said it wasn't that bad. Man, this is a whole front end rebuild. That sucks. This fender's not too bad. This one looks savable. And the liner inside of it. Did it start?
Yeah.
No leaks in the radiator?
Nope.
Okay. We had to cut some of this off.
One car is totaled.
We had to cut off some of the bumper. This side isn't too bad. Yeah, I'll cut this off and then get another something. The hood latch worked. Yeah, no leaks, still runs. Yeah, I'll just tape that light back up. Oh man. Battery is good, radiator is good, computer is good. Looks like there's supposed to be another battery right here. Yeah, that looks alright. Let's say grill, bumper, signal lights, probably the corners, a fender. This is what I was hoping wasn't what I was going to find, but you can see the core support right here. Should be straight out like right here, all the way across. It is crunched all the way into there. This is supposed to be straight. So this is supposed to be a 90-degree angle. From this corner up should be straight, so this is pushed in pretty far. Looks like it's touching the radiator, but it's not leaking, so that's good. AC is not leaking either, so that's amazing. All right, you guys, it is later in the afternoon. I am all tired. Everybody came in, brought their trucks in, put the keys away, and they all took off like an hour ago. I was still working on this Ford Escape. I've got all the coils out. The coils look okay. The plugs definitely need new ones, and the gap was bad. These are not worn and they're not running really weird, which explains why it's probably been a while since there's new plugs that have been in there. The gap on the plugs are at 75. They need to be at 45. And that PCV is dropping oil into 3 cylinders pretty bad. So you can see what part of the plenum that is when it's doing that. Kind of wild. And new plugs, new PCV that's going to go into this area right there. And that's kind of crazy because this PCV actually has a plug on it, which I've never seen before. But I'm going to change that tomorrow, change the plugs tomorrow, and then I've got this oil pressure sending unit down there. I'm going to get it up on a lift, change that tomorrow as well, clean the throttle body, and then we're going to take it for a test drive and see how it runs for the day. But I'm going to do that tomorrow. Right now, I'm going to go home. This is what the throttle body looks like. This is the inside of it, so this is how much oil is getting down the intake. You can clearly see that only one set of the runners was full of oil. All right, you guys, I made it to the shop for the day. I've got the new iridium plugs gapped out to where they need to be, which is 45. These ones turned out to be at 75, and they're burnt. So I'm changing them out. And the PCV locally was 175 bucks because of that little plug right there. So we ordered one online and it'll be here on Saturday. I'll change it on Monday. And then I'm going to clean this throttle body. And then I'll put it back together. That looks a lot cleaner. The new sending unit is in. So I'm going to put this back together. We've got that hooked up now, so I'm going to put this oil filter back in. I'm done with that Escape. I had it running for a bit. It's holding up okay. I've been trying to start this one. This one started up fine before. Like, it would hesitate a bit on startup and it would run fine after that. I got to change 2 of the fuel injectors on this, and I can't really get it to start. The fuel pump is pumping. It's pressurizing when I crank it, but there's nothing sprayed in the throttle body right here. It was dry when I was looking at it. So I poured some gas in there and it started and ran for a second or two and shut off. So I got to figure out why there's no fuel getting into this throttle body. It only runs until it runs out of fuel that I pour down in there. So the fuel injectors definitely aren't spraying. When I'm watching the fuel injectors and the amount of the total injector flow that is going through there, it actually moves up. So you can see how there's fuel moving through it. So there's 0, it'll go up. See? So the fuel injectors are supposed to be working. There's just no fuel getting to them, I think. On here, there's a gauge. Oh yeah, you can see it from here. So that should jump up to like 60 pounds of pressure when I'm cranking it. Nothing. I brought out a couple different tools that are going to help me. Alright, I've got a bunch of stuff hooked up to this battery. I've got this remote starter hooked up. Now I'm going to see if I put power to this here, if it'll pressurize this pump. Yes, it is. So that pump is on. I can hear the relay turning it on and off when the computer's telling it to. But it is not pressurizing in here. I wonder what's going on with it. Good morning, everybody. I am just getting to the shop. Today, I'm going to work on this blue one. And I got to figure out a few things on this XJ. Right now, I got to get my music started. Usually, it's the Bob Seger channel on Pandora. But lately, I've been listening to the channel called Wanted. It's like classic rock and like outlaw country, I guess. Sounds cool. I've got a few things going on with this. One of them seems to be like a fuel pressure problem. So I'm going to change the fuel filter while I have this up in the air. And we've got some grinding noise when we're driving around with this. I can see right here, looks like it is touching something. And that's kind of weird because we lifted the truck and it shouldn't be contacting anything. But as I got it in the air, I also seen that this little indentation right here looks like it was cleared out for whatever is touching that right there. And I'm only guessing that because it looks like it was contacting that ever so slightly before. Now we're kind of just rubbing against it. This is what it is. Okay, I'll figure that out. Fuel delivery. It's got a new filter in it. So, pressure regulator. That's what was leaking when I was putting it back together. Then I've got this one today. This one runs, and I want to go take Mama Bear out in this one for lunch. But we've got a vacuum leak and a fuel leak in the carb. Nothing too major. So I've got it on the charger, and I'm going to figure out what's going on with this. Let me turn this cover back. I can see where the fuel is going, so it shouldn't be too hard to figure out where it's coming from. And I'm almost done with this one. But we've been almost done with this one for a bit. I fixed the window, so I need to glue that in today. Those need to go back in too. Both of those kick panels need to go back up here because I'm done with most of that. I have a switch needs to go in right there for the glove box. Then I can put the glove box door on. Once I get this in here, I can get it on the lift and put the seats in. And then I can button everything up. I gotta put some screws in that. And I gotta change this light switch too. There's that one right there. And it's a problem with the dome light. So I gotta change that. There's the new switch for it. I gotta put the trunk latch in there. The lock. All of this chrome needs to go around the window right here. This chrome needs to go on here too. A couple more things. And I think there's a bracket. Oh yeah, that one's good. Yeah, this one's almost done. Okay, I've got this off the Jeep and I've got it kind of marked out. It'll be a lot straighter. Here's the template. This is what I had to cut off. That way the drive shaft will clear right here. This will give enough room for the drive shaft to clear because this is where the drive shaft was hitting. All right here. I've got a nice little piece of scrap steel and I made a little piece for this. So I'm just going to tack it in real quick and put it back on. Okay, so this isn't the greatest weld job, but this is sealed up and it is going to hold. I just got to see if it'll fit now. Okay, with the exhaust back there where it's going to go and up here where it's going to go, it looks like this drive shaft is going to clear this exhaust now. That's what it looks like from up here now. You can see that big old bump from the bend is missing. And that's what it looks like from under here. That's directly from the bottom, so it looks like that will clear. While I had the exhaust off, I was able to fix a couple of the exhaust leaks too. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't sound too bad. This fuel pressure regulator is going to come in the morning. It's actually going to pick up in Albuquerque today, but the guy that's picking it up today, he's in Albuquerque, so he'll be back with it tomorrow. I wanted to bring my Jeep in here to work on after work, but I got to move this Jeep. And this Jeep, I'm pretty sure is good to go because it was running just fine in here a while ago. And I fixed all the problems that I think we've had with it. So I can't test drive it because I got to move this one. This one was supposed to be a really quick job. I know where the leak is coming from on it. I was supposed to just fix the leak and get it ready to just drive around. But for some reason, it doesn't want to start. I've been working for seriously half the day to get this thing started. The charger's been on it for like 4 hours. It's got 8 volts in it. I got to move this one in order to move this one. And I think I'll just do that tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday and I've made it to the shop. Yesterday when I took off, I was trying to get this blue one started and the battery kept dying, but it's been on the charger all night. So I'm gonna try to start this real quick and move it so I can get that one outside. And I gotta fix the fuel leak on this one. I see where the fuel leak is coming from. I just gotta move it real quick. Let me get my music set up, get my day started. All right, I've got this one back in here. I'm going to be working on these two today and the green one. The green truck, I'm going to put some gas in and see if that's the problem, but it wasn't starting the other day. So we have the 67 fastback here. The carb on this 390 is leaking. It's leaking fuel, so I'm going to fix that leak right now and make sure this is good to go. I don't see anything leaking while it's running. It's been running for a little bit. Oh yeah, I can see it right here. All right. I've got this new fuel pressure regulator that was just dropped off, and I'm going to change this out and see if that's what the problem is. All right, the new regulator is in. Let's see how it runs. So this thing runs pretty good while it's sitting here in the shop. It revs up fine. It goes through pretty much the whole RPM band. And it doesn't stutter, it doesn't misfire, pop, or nothing. But as soon as I put it in gear and I get it on the road, like as soon as I put it under load, this thing pops like it's about to explode. Looks like I've got a leak too. Oh yeah. It's probably this. I don't know where it's dripping from. I pulled the intake and I checked all the vacuum lines. I started it and it ran perfectly fine. I have no idea what is going on with this, so I'm going to check a few more things, but right now I moved over to this one, and this one is leaking fuel through the shaft that holds the throttle plates on it. It's leaking from under this shaft right here, and that means there's fuel sitting in here and in here. I'm going to check the needles to make sure they're not damaged, because it seems like fuel is leaking into the barrels on the carb, and that's what's leaking out of this plate shaft here. So I'm going to check the needle and seat in both of these, and we'll see what's going on. Alright, I finally got some fuel to it. I've made it into the shop with this one, and once the fuel is going, it's actually running alright. Yeah, sounds pretty good. I have two new injectors from Phytech, and I'm going to swap these out and see if this thing starts any better. Sounds like I need to adjust the cranking fuel pressure. This is taking a little bit to start. When I'm cranking it, it cranks for a bit before it actually kicks on. And a lot of time I have to open the throttle for it to even kick on. So right now I'm in the settings of this Phytech EFI system, and the first time I've dealt with one of these, I found a lot of things that I didn't know I was going to need yet. But now, looking at all of this, so I have all these different settings for when I'm cranking, how far the throttle position sensor is going to open, how far the delay is for a prime shot. So when I turn the key on, this thing's supposed to shoot some fuel into the throttle body, so it'll start like pumping the carburetor before you crank it. And on this one, it also has the fuel delivery during cranking at different temperatures. You can see right here it's got 20 degrees, 65 degrees, and 170. So I'm gonna add a couple of things to some of these up here, and I'll see what's going on. That's too high. We need to bring that down below 10. It's a lot, but I'm going to see what we can do about it. I got to adjust the throttle screw while I keep an eye on this one right here. Cool. As I'm adjusting it, it's dropping. So I'm down to 60s. I'm going to see if I can get it lower than that now. Let's give it a couple of more turns. Now let's see this drop some more. We're at 0. Let's move it back a little bit. Just a little bit. Cool. Between 3 and 10 is where we want it. 6 looks good. Alright, so idle air control step is hanging out around 4 and 5. The idle sounds pretty good. Yeah, the idle sounds good. And it seems like all this is running pretty good too. Nice. So it's idling pretty good. It was idling at 750 when I started it, so now it's like 800-ish. Not too far over. And our air fuel ratio is usually around 14 is what we're shooting for. Looks like 13.8, and we're hovering around 13.4 to 13.8. Let me park this thing back outside. I tried adjusting how much fuel goes in during crank, and we'll see if that works. No, it is not working. All right, you guys. So we've had kind of a crazy Saturday already, but we're over here at the shop. I had to move the Mustang and the F-100 out of the shop for whatever I'm doing tomorrow. While we're here, Mama Bear and I are up here with the S-15. We're going to remove all of this front end so I can get this out of here a little easier. And I want to start making molds for these. So I have to fix all these little things before I make the mold. I'm going to do both fenders. I'm going to do the hood. And I'm going to change all this out. We're gonna do something nice with all that. So I'm going to take all this off as much as I can before it gets too hot. Yep. I got a little bit further. Actually, this is as far as I got. This is the furthest I've got because I haven't really worked on this truck yet. So taking this off so far is actually working pretty good. I got to cut that off with the grinder. And I have one more way down there on the inside. That one right there I need to cut off with the grinder. And then I've got two more bolts left. One in here and one in there. And then this core support's ready to come out. And then I got a couple of bolts and that fender's ready to come out. This one I have to take off when I get it inside the shop because it's next to the boat and the door's not going to open that far. Oh. Cool. I got here to the shop, you guys. Check these out. Nice. These are the motor mounts for my square body S10, and these are for the LS swap that I'm doing. These are from a company called Dirty Dingo. Yeah, this is awesome. Oh, look at this too, you guys. Genuine GM parts. Holy cow, look at this, you guys. This is for my S-15. Looks like it's gonna fit all right, baby. Holy cow. Yeah, that's gonna be sick. The headlights aren't here yet, but the motor mounts are here and the grill is here. Today, I'm gonna work on this one, but before I do that, I gotta see what's wrong with this one. One of the pulleys is bad, I guess, so I gotta see which one it is and change that one. Then I'm gonna get to this one. Today we have this 2008 Ford E350, and it came in with a battery problem. So the battery light came on, the lift wasn't working, the vehicle shut off on him, and then it was jump started and it was moved again with the battery light still on. Normally that indicates the charging system is not charging, so when I brought it into the shop, there was no power steering. There's a power steering pump down there, and here's the belt that's supposed to be on it, which also indicates that the belt is bad. So the belt came off easily, the tensioner pulley is bad. Oh yeah, that one needs a new tensioner pulley. So I'm going to change that out. But the last time we changed one of these out, we had a problem with the size of this. The first two that we brought back from O'Reilly's were the wrong size, barely. So I'm going to measure this. I think this one's the 76 millimeter one. But we're going to double check before we send for one. This measures out at 75.86 millimeters. So this is the 76 millimeter pulley. And it looks like they have some of those in town. So now, knowing that this is the problem with this, it's kind of crazy thinking like, how long was this running like this? Whoa. Here's the outside race for the bearing. Looks like it was spinning on that one for a bit first before it just totally came off. And it started spinning. Oh, I get it. So the bearing disintegrated, and then it started running this piece, the outer race for the bearing, on here, creating that cool looking groove on it. Oh yeah, definitely. Yep, that's it. And then eventually, looks like that stopped moving, and then this one started moving around there. The inside race is not coming off this aluminum, So I'm going to take the grinder, I'm going to cut it off. Oh no! I just smacked my phone. Alright, I got this off of here. Ow! So we have the pulley. It was just dropped off. Let's make sure it's the right one. Yep. That's the right one. The last time we were doing one of these, we just bought the pulley that they sold us over there for the tensioner, and we put it on. For some reason, we couldn't get the belt to fit. And this pulley ended up being like that much bigger, and it was impossible to get that belt on there. So, had to double check before I had this one picked up. Now, this one will go on here. This bolt will go back on here. I'll get all these torqued down right, and we'll get this put back on. I've got the new tensioner on right there, and I've got the belt back on. This tool makes it so much easier to do serpentine belts now. Okay, time to start this. I know it's going to squeal a lot because it looks like somebody sprayed the pulleys with WD. But I need to check if the power steering works and if the battery is charging. Cool. Battery's charging. I gotta check that tire pressure monitor sensor. Cool. Power steering is back. Okay, so this one's ready to go. We had a problem with this lock right here as well as what we were working on, what I was working on. So this right here was bad. Just kind of fixed that a bit, and we're running through the cycle to see if it's gonna go all the way up and down the way it's supposed to. Cool. Oh, the next one up. Yeah, next one up. So we're gonna check the transmission fluid on this Expedition. What year is this thing?
2020.
2020. And we're using 19 millimeter. Gonna loosen this. This is where we check it from. All right. This may or may not get messy, but I'm gonna use this pump here, and I'm gonna put this fluid in there. Now that we're done with that Expedition, I'm going to check these out real quick. Oh, look at these. These are going to look sick. This is the passenger side. And I got this because I want this still almost squared out look on the front of on the top of the fender. Yo, this is gonna look nice. Yeah, that's bad. These are gonna look pretty sick. I like this. All black housings. Clear corners. It's even got the black housing on here with the orange bulb, and then the this is the high beam, and the low beam is the projector. Nice. I removed all the bolts for this core support, and I pulled out this wire looming. I'm not going to keep the engine wire looming, but that's for the chassis lighting, so I need to keep that. Let me move this out of here too. Well, you can already see that this radiator core support is already ready to come out. I got more off of the truck just to make it a little easier to pull this engine out. I still got to get a wheel so I can move it. And then I can open this door and get the 2 bolts that I need to get on there. All the other bolts that hold this fender on are no longer holding it on. Just the 2 that are in the door right there. Then this is ready to come out. Alright everybody, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all once again for stopping by and checking it out. Y'all have an awesome rest of your day, and you guys be careful whatever you're working on. Later.